Welcome everyone to Multidimensional Health with Dr. Toni. I am your host, Toni Camacho, a best-selling author, holistic health practitioner, registered herbalist, and doctor of psychology. I have a wonderful show for you today. My guest, Linda Wolf, is here to share with you how being your authentic self can transform your life and improve your overall well-being. Linda is a wonderful intuitive and spiritual counselor and coach. In her practice, Linda assists her clients to heal all wounds and unhealthy patterns so they can heal every aspect of their life, including relationships, health, manifestation, and spiritual awakening. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the show. I am so happy that you're here. You have a great topic to talk about today, and I'm really excited. I think my audience is going to love it. And you're going to talk about how authenticity transforms your life and well-being. Why do you think most of us are struggle so much being authentic, being our true self?
Well, here's the thing. Most of us are not being who we are, we're being what we've become.
Mm,
And there's a difference. You, who you are, is a beautiful, sacred, empowered, creative, spiritually connected human being with gifts and talents. And if you're not feeling that, that's because most of us are living on the flip side of who we are, at least to a certain extent. And when we were young, we were fed these untruths, lies, if you will, about who we are. And we didn't have any filters at that point to weigh and analyze information that was coming in. We don't get those filters till we're about 7. And so we see our parents as gods. They
mm.
feed us, they shelter us, they buy clothing, they take care of our basic needs. And so everything they say comes right in, and we believe every bit of it. We take it as gospel. We don't have any choice. So as we grow up, we're hearing or seeing or being told or shown that we are unworthy, powerless, we are unintelligent, unattractive, we can't get it right, we'll never make anything of ourselves. So we're getting all these negative ideas coming in, and that's who we become.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So often our parents and authority figures and so forth, they are kind of pushing us away from our authenticity onto a path we don't necessarily want. It's not our path. However, we don't know that when we're really young either. We just are not old enough to get it. So when we grow up and now we're living our life, we're looking around going, what did I create and who am I? You know,
Yes.
so maybe your parents pushed you into being a doctor or a lawyer or a part of a family business, but maybe you're a creative and you want to paint or draw or cook or craft. Our parents usually mean well. They
Mm-hmm.
want us to have a good career and make lots of money, and they want us to society to look well upon us. However, it could be something else. Two kind of parental classics, and one is
Mm-hmm.
that maybe they didn't achieve what they wanted to in their lifetime, so they're trying to achieve it through you, so they put that on you. Or they see you as a reflection of them, and so they want society to look upon them with respect and acceptance, and so they try to put stuff on you to make you look good so that they look good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that happens often. And then what we have to understand is that their parents came from dysfunctional families too,
Mm-hmm.
and so they had that done to them. They're doing it to their kids. Our parents are doing it to us. And so there's this generational cycle that kind of happens with parenting. And and so it's not without reason is what I want to say. It's not without
Mm-hmm.
reason, but it's very unhealthy and it's very misguided. And so now it's kind of time for us to break that cycle. It's time for us to buck the system, to kind of peel off the layers of societal and parental crud and start to discover who we are.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So how does it affect our health and well-being if we're not authentic? I think a lot of people want to know that.
Yeah, it's a big one. And your podcast, Toni, is all about multidimensional health. And I want to tell you that when you're only being a shadow of who you are, when you are hiding your true nature because you're being kind of molded into the image of
Mm-hmm.
someone else, when you're trying to please everyone by trying to be normal,
Mm-hmm.
it messes with your thoughts. And your thoughts create your emotions. and your emotions, when they sit inside and build up with little or no release, then that can wreak havoc not only on your mental and emotional state, but also your physical well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of studies about this subject,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a really important one. And we spend lots of time tamping ourselves down, dimming our light, making ourselves small, living in the shadows of who we really are, and sort of living a half life. And the good news is that even though we can dim our light, we can never, ever really completely turn it off. So
Yes.
we can always rekindle that small spark to the full flame of who we are. And once we do that, then we can live this glorious life of our own in peace and love and joy and doing what we love. And if we look honestly, most of us just aren't doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, sometimes we do the same thing then to others, right? We set some expectations and we want their perfection, not because even though we think we're doing it for them, but we're actually doing it for us. Because when we see other people suffer, we're trying to take that suffering away from us, and so we want the best for them. But in reality, it's kind of selfish because we don't want to suffer by seeing our loved ones, go through that, and then we cause the same situation that was caused on us by our parents. That's so.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not like our parents didn't mean well. It's all about kind of trying to not have other people suffer, especially our loved ones.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the patterns are unconscious too. So we're not really realizing sometimes what we're putting on someone else.
Hmm. And most of the time, I think we don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know that we're doing it. Yeah. If we did, nobody wants to cause harm. If we do, we wouldn't be doing it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned that there are ways that we can rekindle that light, because you said the light is always there, and so we can bring it back to the surface. So how are some ways that people can really become authentic again?
Okay, well, okay, so there's 10 things I'm going to give you that help people bring themselves, the true you forth. And just so you know, that part of you is waiting with the light inside to be discovered. It is waiting breathlessly for you to take notice, to um, tap into your truth, and to um, really bring it into the light, expose it to the light, because it's sitting down there in the dark, kind of small and trembling, and it wants to come out. And when you bring it out into the light, then you can begin to transform and realize who you are and what direction you want to take now. So to help people to sort of be aware and let go of the cover-ups they've had to create to survive their life, there are 10 things. One is breathing.
Mm,
Okay, that is something I teach with clients in my classes everywhere because it's so important.
mm-hmm,
And many of us, most of us, especially women, men too, but women are even more so. We tend to hold our breath and we tend to breathe in a shallow manner.
uh-huh.
And so we need to learn to breathe again and be conscious about it and bring it in. And I want to tell you some things that breathing does. It helps us to live. We really need that part. and and B, it helps us to feel. You can't feel if you're breathing, and a lot of us tend to not feel. So we create a sort of um, partial or full numbness, so we don't have to feel the hurt and the pain. And the problem with that is that we're not being real if we're not knowing and feeling what we feel. And I'll talk
Mm-hmm,
a little bit more about that in a minute. The next thing is, this is really important, coming clean. It's like the core of the work. You have to come clean, you have to own your stuff, all of it. And where are you and who have you become? And when you start looking at this, then you can know where to start to work on yourself. And so what are your issues? What are you holding back? What are you hiding inside? What kind of fear and resentment or irritation or anger? What kind of sorrow? What
mm-hmm,
kind of beliefs and patterns? What's in there? And if you know, great. If you don't know, great too. All you have to do is begin to observe and
mm-hmm,
witness yourself and your actions, your behaviors, your words, your thoughts. And I want to stop on thoughts for a minute because that one, there's a staggering kind of statistic I found when I was doing some research once. And it says that between 70 and 80% of our thoughts are negative or redundant.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let's say 75% of our thoughts are negative or redundant. So we're sitting and our thoughts are going round and round and round, and almost all of them are negative
Or
and saying
negative.
the same thing over and over and over.
You're
And so
marinating in negativity.
absolutely, that's a good way of putting it. You're marinating in it, and it's happening all the time, all day long. And so it's important to look at those. Also, um, there's a sort of a warning label on this tip, because when you begin to observe yourself, when you begin to witness what you're doing, then it can seem like it's worse. And it's
I
not
see.
worse. It's just that now you're seeing it. Now it's obvious.
Now
Now
you're
it's in your
aware.
face
Hmm.
and you're aware. And so that can happen. And then also, another part of this tip is that you have to be super honest with yourself. And that can be really challenging, but you have to be super honest with who you are, and really just look at it and see what's going on there in an honest way. And so you have to be real, and you don't have to be your true self yet. But when you acknowledge who you are in the moment, then you are being real. And that leads to more being real and
Hmm.
more being real. And so it really helps. Um, Next, number 3 is accept yourself. Okay, that is, you have to accept yourself where you are right now, how you are. It's sort of an extension of coming clean, because you can come clean and own your stuff. But if you don't accept it, then you can have a problem there. And you don't have to love it. You don't
Hmm.
have to love it at all. You just have to acknowledge it, and know that it's there, and sort of with as much grace as you can, just be an acceptance of it at the moment. And you can work on changing that later. But right now, just accepting. And so maybe you notice that you're irritated, or you are carrying a lot of fear or sorrow, or maybe you're codependent or needy, or maybe you are a people pleaser, sort of a approval seeking, which is, in my mind, by far one of the biggest deterrents to being who you are, because all day, every day, you are trying to be someone for someone
Hmm.
else.
Hmm.
And so you become a sort of jigsaw puzzle,
Hmm.
mom piece here, dad
Hmm.
piece there, friend, teacher, and on down the line. And so you become, so it's like, who are you? You get
Yes.
lost in the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. You can
And
keep meeting people, and now you have, the more people you know, now you have to break yourself in more little pieces to please them. Yeah. It is exhausting too to keep up with all those personalities.
no, it is. And it becomes a sort of, you get good at it, but yes, it's
Exactly.
difficult and it's exhausting to not be who
Hmm.
you are. It's
Hmm.
just exhausting. The energy we put into not being who we are, if we dropped it all right now, we would have a ton of energy that we never had before.
Yes.
But we don't realize it because comes on so gradual, sort of.
Yes. Yes. And we're so used to it. It's like a normal for us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah. But
um,
imagine all that energy going into healing yourself, right? Instead of
exactly.
being somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really important. Kitty, we have number 4 now. So it's really important, and this is a big extension of coming clean, to feel and express your feelings. Um, you have to own them honestly, and when an emotion comes up, instead of pushing it down, wrangling it down in there, trying to have a self battle so you won't feel it, just simply letting it come up at the moment. And if you don't, what happens is it comes out in an inappropriate way,
Yes.
maybe in a place or time that is inappropriate, maybe on a person that's
Hmm.
inappropriate, because you have these feelings inside that are unresolved. And so you have all these triggers out there that cause reactions, but they just don't, you might be putting on someone that has nothing to do with that. So
Hmm.
again, not only releasing them, but kind of resolving what's in there, because as I said before, if they sit in there, they can fester and cause
Hmm.
physical problems as well.
Do you
Um,
think that right now with this whole, well, let's call it new age or modern movement of being positive and positive thinking, that people are misinterpreting that aspect, and they're repressing their feelings because I gotta be positive. But the truth is, yes, we have to be positive, but there's also things that are shit happens. Things are happening in our lives, and we have to feel them. And I think that what the positive movement is missing is that it's not about not feeling anything negative. It's about how fast you can go back to center. you feel the emotion if it's negative, and then how quick you use these tools that you're teaching us to go back to center and feeling positive again and feeling good about yourself and moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm going to go into that. One of my tips is positive affirmations, but I totally agree with you. I think that the be positive movement has really makes problems for people healing sometimes.
Hmm.
So I agree.
It's
Um,
oversimplified. Yeah.
yeah, it's oversimplified, and there's much more to it than that.
Hmm.
So anyway, number 5 is following your inner GPS. That's what I call it, your inner guidance system. And it's your own guidance, your own intuition, your heart and your soul, but your mind wants to get in the way and kind of take you away from that. But it's the heart and the soul and the intuition that want to take you on your path to your best and highest good, to lead you to your true self. And you can't listen to somebody else's heart and soul. You can't listen to their words and actions kind of urging you in some direction that has their agenda written all over it, and
Hmm.
find your true self, right? So you can't borrow somebody else's true self, and you can't lend yours out. Okay, that's not going to happen. um, we're like fingerprints. Our true self is like fingerprints. There's no two alike. So
And isn't
you
that beautiful? That's wonderful. That's
yes,
yeah.
because we're all different, and it would be nice if we all celebrate that, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then the next one is connecting with your spiritual helpers and your higher self. Your higher self is sort of the highest part of you, and it has information for you, and it has all the answers that you require. But our mind, blah, 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 chatter, chatter gets in the way again. And so that can be a challenge. And you're surrounded by the energy of spirit, of your guides, of your angels, however you see them, whatever you call them, they are there to guide you. And so connect with them. And they will help you to be authentic. They want you to be your true self. It's just that they can't do it for you. They
Hmm.
can comfort you and love you and hold you and send love to you. And they can send signs and synchronicities to you, but they can't do the journey for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's that. And then number 7 is take action. Anytime you're trying to manifest something, this is a really important part of it. It's you can see, you can visualize, you can feel, but until you take action on that, which I know you're aware of, it's you're anyway, you can't
Yeah.
manifest without taking action. And so take action on your dreams, what you want, how you want to spend your time on your truth, living your purpose,
Hmm.
not somebody else's. And you can take tiny or small
Little
or
steps.
medium or large steps.
Yeah. Hmm.
They're all steps in the direction of your true self. So,
Yes, like I heard once somebody said that, if you want, I don't know, a Lincoln, you can't sit on your butt and wait for it, right? It's, unless a car runs into your driveway, which is not likely to happen, it's not going to happen, right? Like you said, you can ask your guides, you can try to manifest, and all the synchronicities will appear. But you better start looking for what car you want. Start visiting dealerships, and then the perfect price is going to show up, and your guides and everything is going to guide you to the right place. But you better start moving because it's not going to appear in your driveway by itself.
yeah, when I was starting my business, relaunching it and doing a store and all that, I I did all these things. I went out and got my fictional name before I even had the money to do the business. I
Hmm.
started showing the universe in those different ways that I'm serious about what I'm doing. I got distributors, I got all this stuff. I had no way. And eventually it all came in and it all worked out. So yes, you have to take action. It shows the universe and yourself that you mean business.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so that's really important.
Hmm.
The next thing is to be patient with yourself. Your timing is your timing, and divine timing enters here too. So you have to cut yourself some slack, give yourself some time, and breathe and let go, and not try to control it all, because that's what we try to do in our lives so much, is try to control everything, but beginning to let go then. And then number 9 is gratitude. And everybody in spiritual and self-help and self-growth is talking about gratitude. So maybe people are tired of hearing about it, but it's a really important
It
concept,
is. It is.
because when you talk a lot about what you don't want, when you are complaining about this person or that thing, well, you're pretty miserable, and understandably so, given the life we've had to lead or what you've had to go through. Um, but it's time for change. And that kind of negativity is not you. It's not who you are really
Hmm.
at all. And it's hard to manifest a life that you love when that kind of negativity is going on. So, and another thing about gratitude, when you're in gratitude, you're automatically in joy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in joy and appreciation and negative at the same time. They do not vibrationally sit in the same space. So
Yes.
you can know you're in gratitude if you feel joy, and if you're not, you can kind of know you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you're still sitting in that negativity and have to work with it. Number 10, give yourself some credit. We tend to simply
Oh yeah.
dismiss the
Mm-hmm.
things that we do that are good and
Mm-hmm.
positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we take this big old broom and we
Mm-hmm.
sweep it under the rug, all the good deeds and good words and good actions that we do. It's like we expect it to automatically happen, or it's expected, so we don't get any extra
Yes.
kudos. We do get extra kudos, and we
Mm-hmm.
need to remember to give ourselves
Mm-hmm.
credit. It's
Even
really
for the
important.
small things. I love this exercise. It's a 40-day exercise when you look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk to yourself, in a very positive way, and you say how much you love yourself and how great you did that day. Even if you managed to brush your teeth, eat healthy, at this day and age with COVID, got dressed instead
Yeah,
of
right.
sitting in PJs all day, all the what we call little stuff is stuff that we're doing that other people don't do, or that they can't, right? And we don't give ourselves enough credit for the little things. And at the end of the 40 days, you feel wonderful, because you feel like this person that does great stuff. It's a great exercise. But the other thing I notice, not just that we don't take time for the little things, is that we we always chasing something, right? We have a goal, we achieve it, and instead of celebrating and taking the time, just like, wow, I did it, it's like, what's the next goal?
Yeah.
And
No
then you go,
pause, no
yeah, nothing.
celebration.
Let's go to the next one. And so you're always chasing something instead of enjoying, that was the journey, was the enjoyment. Even the little steps towards the big goal count. And that's why sometimes having smaller goals to the big one helps, because you can celebrate at intervals, even every week you can celebrate um, that you did 5 calls to people that were going to help you to reach your goal or something. It's just very, very important. I agree with you. Celebrate your successes is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then part of that whole got the goal, no, go, 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 is that you aren't celebrating in between, like
Yes.
you're saying. And so that is part of not giving yourself credit. You're not taking time to say, hey, I did such a good job. I got
Hmm.
finished. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, you don't even give yourself a chance, not even 1 second sometimes,
Yes.
and you're on to the next. So you're right. Um, oh, and also just in that mirror thing, um, I think the first spiritual healing sort of metaphysical book I read was Louise Hay's You Can
Oh
Heal Your
yes.
Life.
Yes.
Such a good book still
Such a
now.
great book. Yes.
And she has that mirror exercise where you look at yourself and you say, I love you. And that sounds so simple. But the first time I stood there and tried to say, I love you, I just went, and I cried. I couldn't do it. And finally, I worked up to it, but it seemed so simple. Some of the
Hmm.
things that seem simple are not, because we have all these emotions inside that are
Hmm.
attached to that thing. Anyway,
Absolutely.
bonus tip now. I was going to put this in the 10 tips, but it needed space all of its own. It's loving yourself.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And this is pretty much the whole ball of wax. It's everything almost, because if you really loved yourself, you would be in balance. You
Yes.
would be feeling good. You'd be balanced. You'd be healthy. You'd be doing what you love. You'd be grateful and you'd be joyful.
Hmm.
And when you do that, you're automatically authentic, because
Hmm.
when you're loving who you are and accepting who you are, then you're who you are.
Yes.
So loving yourself is really important, but understandably, a lot of us aren't there, because we did grow up in these
Hmm.
dysfunctional families with this, the negative habits and patterns. And by the way, any people pleasers out there, remove the sign on your back, and that's my category. Move the sign off your back that says, kick me, take advantage of me, and I'll flex any way you want me to.
Yes. And I'll
Okay.
put your needs before mine. I see that, and especially a lot with mothers, right? I'm not saying the mothers should not take care of their kids, but you
Right.
have to take care of yourself, right? First as well. And that means like sometimes I see people don't eat on time, or they eat last, or they went all day without eating because they're supposed to be taking care of their kids and the husband in the house, and or the job. You don't have to be a mother. Sometimes we put our jobs, well, I had a meeting, I had this and that, and now we something as simple as eating. Well, eating on time and eating the right things is another demonstration of loving yourself, right?
Right.
And so, and I'm just giving that as an example, but there's many times that we put others' needs or our job first before ourselves.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be doing that. And some people are like, isn't that selfish? It's like, no, and it's not
No,
like you're never going to do anything for somebody else. It's just
exactly.
like you got to put yourself first. We all know the put the air in the
Exactly.
airplane on
Hmm.
yourself first before the kids. It's really, really important for you to be effective with other people to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because what happens is people throw around the self-love term a lot too, like just love yourself, like it's
Like
easy.
it's
It's
easy.
not.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not easy. It's challenging. We have to undo and unlearn everything that was given to us and to do it in a new way. And so it's really important to know that it's not that easy, because if you expect it's going to happen in 2 seconds, that's unrealistic, right? And another term being thrown around now is self-care. Like we were talking about, you do have to take care of yourself and your needs. And I'm not talking right now, I'm not going to talk about spa day and bubble bath and wine with friends. Those are really important too to do to help yourself and to love
Hmm.
yourself. But I'm talking about deeper things like creating boundaries and keeping them, like
Hmm.
speaking your truth, like taking time for yourself and not having to explain it to
Hmm.
anyone, and by seeing the good in yourself. So those kind of deeper things. The other things are really nice too, and
Hmm.
they really you give yourself
Nurture you.
time. But the deeper ones are ones you want to work on in order to really change who you
Hmm.
are, or
Hmm.
not change who you are, be who you are.
Hmm.
And sometimes I see this if you're a diamond, and that's not an unusual example, but it's a really good one for this, because I see us all, the true self, as a diamond. We're all have a million little facets of all of our wonderful little qualities, and we shimmer light out, we radiate it out, and that's who we are. Now let's see what it looks like without a lot of dirt and mud on it, which is what happens as we grow up and our parents put all kinds of negativity on us, right? Then you can't see the amazing light. You can't see the facets. You just see brown gunk.
Yeah.
Okay, now we start to wipe it away, and there's a wink of light here and a wink of
Hmm.
light there until you finally allow your true self to come out. And that's sort of what this process is like. It's about becoming that full diamond that you are. And again, not that you're perfect. We're all perfect as we are, but not without flaws. We
Hmm.
all have them. We're human. None of us is perfect. And it's unfair and impossible to strive for those kind of things.
Hmm.
And besides, everybody's perfect is different. Maybe your favorite day, or your a great day for you is to go to the beach and sit in the sun and watch the waves. Maybe for somebody else, that day is being inside all day playing video games with friends.
Hmm.
Those are two really opposite things, right? But it's perfect for the person that's having that day. So
Hmm.
trying to be perfect is not only unrealistic, it's unattainable, and it can
Hmm.
keep you away from being who you are, because you're striving for something, that you'll never attain. And for me, perfectionism, and again, raising my hand on this one, is poison. It's
Oh yeah.
like emotional poison.
Hmm.
Okay, so you can, if you take all that energy, and you alluded a little bit to this earlier, if you take all that energy and you spend it on being authentic,
Hmm.
then you've got something going. And authentic people are so much more interesting and fun and relatable, and you can be who you are with them
Hmm.
because they are being who they are.
Hmm. And I think one thing that helps too is when we're going through this journey of like you said, rediscovering ourselves, not put yourself down when we're not perfect. Like I see a lot of people, it's like, oh, I've been working on myself and I keep doing this, I keep doing this, and I'm still not there. And it's like, well, guess what? None of us are. That's why we're here in this planet. um it is what it is. Some days are better. Our best changes every day, right? So maybe my best today is not as good as yesterday, or it's going to be tomorrow, and every day is a fresh start. And hey, I've been working at it for 40 years and here I am, right? So it's not overnight. It's a journey. It took years to get to where you are, so it's going to take years, decades, maybe even, to get to where you want to be or to discover your authentic self. But the thing is, that's our journey, to work on it, and yeah, give us something to
Yeah.
do. That way you're not bored.
Yeah. Oh, not boring. Working on yourself is not boring. It's always so much to do, and I totally agree with you. And this work is challenging, and working with your emotions and who you are, and trying to change your patterns can be very challenging. So if you're overwhelmed, if you feel like you're going to lose control with your emotions, if you feel like you're going to hurt yourself or get yourself in trouble somehow, then get some help. You can see a
Hmm.
therapist, you can see a healer counselor type like me, you can join a group. I just don't want you to go away thinking that you have to do this all on your own. Some people can do it all on their own, and some people need help. And it's okay to have help. And sometimes it's not only okay, it's necessary. So I
Hmm.
just want people to know that it's not a crutch to get some help, or whatever they need.
And
And
sometimes that
so,
includes medication.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I see a lot of people struggle and they don't want to go on medication, but they're struggling a lot. And it's like, well, use it temporarily. You don't have to use it forever. Just because we're all about natural ways of healing doesn't mean that we're not open to conventional medicine. It's like use it temporarily, get past that hump while you're doing that and you're feeling better on medication, work on yourself so you are able to let go of that
yes,
medication. Yes.
exactly. And that's why medications can be problematic sometimes, because they're covering what we've got going on. But if
Hmm.
you're working on yourself and you're taking the medication, there's a great combination if you need those.
Hmm.
And, sometimes it has to happen.
Yes, there's no shame
Sometimes it just
in
has
it.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
no shame.
Yeah.
I want to share a quote too that I think really goes well with this. It's a few lines that I really love from a Mary Oliver poem called Wild Geese.
Hmm.
And it's just perfect for what we're talking about now. It is, you do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves.
Oh.
And that gives us permission and validation, permission to not be good all the time, permission
Hmm.
to be wrong. And it's okay if you make a mistake, and you don't have to repent for a million years. And it allows us to love what we love, to allow the soft animal of our body to love what it loves.
Yeah,
So
that's
I just want to
beautiful.
share that.
Yeah,
Really.
okay. So, Linda, these tips were amazing. But you said you also had some tools that we could use to be authentic. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah. So the tools are, first and foremost, and again, a thing that's kind of become mainstream, and that's meditation.
Hmm.
It's a very powerful and a very gentle process. And I could teach a whole class on this. And if Tony will let me come back, maybe I'll do
Of
that
course.
sometime. But what I want you to take away right now about meditation, number one, is there is no right way. There's a million ways to meditate, and the one that's best is the one that works for
It works
you.
for you.
And that's where I
Hmm.
like to work with everybody, with everything. It's just what works best for you. So don't let somebody try to put their meditation on
Hmm.
you. If you try it and it works, great. If it doesn't, move on. And you can use different ones at different times,
Yeah.
right?
And you don't have to pay
So,
thousands of dollars for meditations. You know,
right.
there's there's so many online that you can choose from and so many books and try different ones until you find the one you love. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one on my website that's just like a 17-minute meditation people could use. But
Oh, and
anyway, you
I'm
can.
gonna, at the end of the show, I'm gonna give you guys the link for Linda's website so you can download that.
Yeah, thank you. Um, okay, so I'm going to tell you, just to give a little variety of what you can do. You can sit and breathe. You can listen to beautiful music and breathe. You can use guided meditation. And that helps a lot, I think, when you're new, because it fills in the gaps where those thoughts are usually running through.
Yeah,
But I still use them sometimes,
I
so they're
still
good.
use them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can chant or use a mantra. You can meditate with a specific kind of breathing. You can sit in your garden quietly. You can watch the stars or anything in nature. And so there's a lot of ways you can do it. And I think Tony's blog has some, I've been seeing some kinds of different kinds of meditation and
Mm.
breathing. So you can check out her blog for that kind of stuff. And then, and you can, like I said, I like to help people make everything their own. The only thing about meditation is, though, you do have to breathe. It's not healthy. You can't not breathe. Okay. That's important. And I want to just say that it doesn't have to be complicated.
Hmm.
Okay. It can be, it doesn't have to be. And the other thing I want people to understand about meditation is that the most challenging thing about it, besides just sitting yourself down and doing it, is the relentless stream of thoughts going through our heads. We
Yes.
talked earlier about 75% of our thoughts. Then you've got the other 25%. So your mind is reeling. And if you notice yourself having thoughts when you're meditating, just don't follow them. I think that becomes the problem, because it's like, oh my God, I have that bill. I have to pick up my daughter after school. I've got this vacation. So if you stop it after the first one, just kind of let it go out.
Hmm.
That really helps in meditation. And it's almost, to me, as if you don't stop the thoughts. It's like you create this space that doesn't allow them to penetrate.
Yeah, yeah, it's impossible. We're humans.
Yeah.
Thoughts are always going to be, that's how we live. So thoughts are always going to be there. So sometimes people feel like there's an expectation of being blank, and that's not true. I mean, we have a consciousness, so it's always moving. Like you said, it's not about, it's about not chasing the thoughts. It's about letting
Yeah.
them go and not judging yourself when you catch yourself thinking. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm thinking, and then restart. That's why those meditations that, like you said, there's no perfect meditation, but for me, the meditations that have something for you to focus on, like counting for the breathing, focusing on space, like a black hole, or something. What you're doing is you're quieting the what's it they call it, the chattering monkey or the squirrel in your head, because it's focusing on that. And so it's to see how many seconds you can last focusing on that instead of your thoughts, because your mind has to be focused on something, otherwise you'll be dead. And so that's why it's normal to have thoughts. So what you do is you focus your thoughts on something that you like, a candle, beautiful scenery, the breath, or something, counting sheep if you want, whatever it is. So you're not thinking those negative thoughts that you're talking about. So it's not
Yeah.
about like being blank, it's about refocusing your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, you mentioned some more ways to meditate, so that's really helpful too. You can journal. That's another thing. You can journal in a classic way, sort of about your day or what you're going through, and be sure to express your feelings in there in every ways you can, whether it's screaming, crying, punching, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, do that. But in the journal, express your feelings too, and in an honest, raw way that's uncensored. And if you're really afraid someone's going to see it, burn the pages, but
Yeah.
get it down there. It
Hmm.
really helps. I know there's been a couple of times I've ripped a page with a pencil because I was writing down an angry thought. And I just left it there. That's how I was feeling at the time. And you can get creative with it too. Again, make it your own. Like you can put a symbol in there of what authenticity means to you. You can write a poem to yourself or a song and put it in there. Put lines like those 4 lines from the poem that I gave you, or you can put a photo in there. Did I say that already? Anyway, you can
Hmm.
do anything you want and make it yours and make it creative so it's not boring. Um, so that's a great thing. And then dreams, write down your dreams. You
Hmm.
can get messages through your dreams that you can't get in your waking day because again, chatter, chatter,
Hmm.
blah, blah, blah. And all these thoughts are going on. So it's hard to get some messages. But when you're asleep, you're in an unconscious kind of state. And so you can get some of those messages and write them down. And then later you can go back and look at them and see if, you can try to intuit or get a dream book or something to help you kind of interpret what that
Hmm.
message might be. Another thing you can do is you can vision board. You can take words and phrases. I usually use magazines to do this and put them on a foam board or a piece of poster board. But I have a little tiny soapbox because I teach a full day workshop in vision boarding. And that is, it is so much more than cutting and pasting.
Yeah.
Okay. There are deeper understandings of abundance and manifestation. And there are, understanding the obstacles that are in the way of why you're not attracting things into your life and so forth. So there's some deeper things. So just keep that in mind when you're vision boarding. It's not just cutting and pasting. Um, Learn how to do the things you like. Make a practice out of knowing what you like to do and doing it, not because you should, not because you have to, not because someone told you to, but because you want to.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Hmm.
here I'm going to get into positive affirmations. Like we started on this a little bit before, but you have to be aware of them a little bit because if you're slapping one over a bunch of inner turmoil and imbalance, then it can serve to kind of hide what you have going on in there and keep you as the fake you, right? So if you can say an affirmation and you can say it, see it, feel it, mean it, then it can work. Otherwise, it can just be a band-aid over your
Hmm.
truth. And so I'm not bad mouthing them. I use them myself, but they can backfire if you're not aware or using
Hmm.
them in a healthy way.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
okay, so
and they don't have, again, with perfection, right? Affirmations doesn't, they don't need to be the perfect self that you need to get to, because you might not feel that way at that point. But what you could do is just take a step above how you feel at the moment. If you don't feel like you completely love and accept yourself as you are, you can actually say, I am open and receptive to start loving myself. And so just a step above from where you are, so it's easy to transition, and then you change it and modify it until you get to where you want to.
yeah. And I think if you're being aware of yourself, you can see if that's feeling real for you or not. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? If you're really kind of watching and witnessing that.
Hmm.
Okay, for loving yourself, such an important thing. There's a couple of things that I do and that I can share that as you're getting to more and more of a place like you're talking about with positive affirmations, of getting to that place where you love yourself and are your true self. One thing I do, and I do a routine every morning, I exercise, I walk, I meditate. And in that process, I take my hands and I put them to my chest and I open up my heart and I send love from myself to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it in two areas. One is I say something like, I am sending love to the parts of me that are sad and angry and fearful, that are feeling guilt or resentful. And then I send sort of a pink colored light through me, and that's sending love. And then the other part I do, because we sweep the good stuff under, is I say, and I'm sending love to the parts of me that are confident, that are loving and caring, that are creative, that are gifted. And so you can do that kind of a thing and just send that love to yourself. It's great to get it from the outside too, because at the end, I'll have Kuan Yin's energy. She's an ascended
Mm-hmm.
master who's all about love and compassion. She comes in, I let her love me too. But that loving yourself is a whole nother story. And when you can do that, you're really starting to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, and I think you know this one, I've talked to you about it, but it's something I developed from what you're supposed to do in a fire. Stop, drop, and breathe. And so you can stop, and I usually snap my fingers to pull myself out. So if your
Mm-hmm.
mind's
Mm-hmm.
going crazy or you're not feeling authentic or whatever, stop,
Mm-hmm.
drop your energy into your heart space and feel it. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just do it. You have to feel it. Feel the love and compassion there, and then breathe. So stop, drop into your heart space
Mm-hmm.
and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Stop, drop, and breathe. Also, see yourself as a little boy or little girl, because that's who you're doing this for too. And I have a picture of myself, a little photo of when I was 13 months old, like looking in the grass, all curious. And I keep it on my desk to remind me that this is who I'm protecting. This is who needed my help. And this is who I want to be authentic for. And she couldn't do it when she was little. She didn't have those filters.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do it for her now. And also, when you look at that picture, you almost automatically want to go, oh, and take care of them. We don't do that to our adult self enough, but we do it as a child or when we see a child. So
No, these are great tools, and Linda, I think this was wonderful. I think it was a great show. It was very informative, and people have a lot of tools now to use in order to start becoming who they are or discovering who they are, because they're already that. And so I think that everybody go visit Linda's website. I'll give you the website at the end of the show, and she has amazing little tools to do, because she has a store and you can buy oracle cards there and crystals and candles and everything you need. Plus, she's a wonderful teacher and mentor and counselor. So if you want to learn more, go into details on how you can discover your authentic self, feel free to reach out to her. I will give you the information next. Thank you,
thank you,
Linda.
Toni. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, to learn more about Linda, visit her website at lavenderlotushealing.com. And I'll see you next time.